Wow. You're not going to believe what happened right after I completed filming Meaningful Monday last week. Stay tuned. Hi, this is Lee Brower, and welcome to this week's edition of Meaningful Monday. I am grateful to be here, and I am glad to be here. If you recall, last week I broadcast my Meaningful Monday from the Crystal Cove on Southern California beach down near Newport Beach. And it's the exact same spot that I had found the Gratitude Rock almost 20 years ago. Anyway, it's the same spot. So it has a sentimental meaning for me. And what was top of mind were three words, and if not. And we talked about those three words. Well, shortly thereafter, after concluding it, I decided I needed more of a workout, so I went up and did intervals on the stairs, and I did about an hour of intervals. And as I was dragging myself through the sand heading back, two lifeguards passed me running full speed. And I could see not too far in the distant future, I could see a young man just setting somebody down that he had pulled out of the water. And by the time I got there, they were already doing CPR on this body surfer that had been out body surfing with this young man that had pulled him in. And I went over by the young man and stood by him, and probably stood there for about 45 minutes. And he was obviously visibly upset. He was uttering under his breath, "Man, I hope he lives. I pray he lives. I pray he lives." And as I talked to him, I said, "Are you okay?" And he says, "Well, I can't get his face out of my mind." He said, "I was swimming out there. I was, had been body surfing, and I'd seen him body surfing, and he was doing great." And he said, "Then I saw him face down, kind of floating, and I thought, well, maybe he's looking at something under the water." He had fins on, but then I realized he didn't have a mask on. So I rushed over and turned him over, and he was blue. And he said, I pulled him, then I started pulling him out. He says, "I can't get his face out of my mind, out of my head. Pray that he lives." And I'm sitting there thinking, just after hearing those words, "and if not." And as he prayed in his heart, as I was praying, and others I'm sure were standing around praying as they watched this. And it was about 45 minutes or so that we stood there until an ambulance finally took him off. But there was no response from him during that time. And they tried a lot of different things. A young lady was standing next to him, a friend of his, who said, "I guess I'm going to have to buy you drinks tonight with no mixers." And I said, "Well, maybe that's not the answer." And I said, I just did a video down the beach on three words, "and if not." I've been listening to hear you praying, please, God, keep him alive. But what about "and if not"? What if that's not what's going to happen today? What if that's not the answer to his prayer or to the family, or what God's intentions are? What if that's not the answer there? And if not, what is that going to mean? Perhaps this is a learning experience for you. And I asked him, "Is there anything in your life ever that you haven't been able to learn from?" And he said, "No, learn from everything." And I said, "So when you look at this experience, perhaps, just perhaps, there's a lesson here for you. And as you continue to grow, there may be more lessons for you. And so whatever those lessons are for you now, capture them and share them. Share those lessons with others. You see, as we have experiences in our life, then our previous experiences give us new lessons over and over and over again. And that "and if not" in that moment created a bond between that person and me that I'll never forget. And after they took him off in the ambulance, we said goodbye and good luck. And I started walking down the beach, and I get a phone call from Lori. She says, "Where are you?" And then it all hit me. That's the way it seems to work for me. It doesn't happen in the moment, it happens shortly thereafter. And the magnitude of all of that, and the learning that I am blessed to receive from this experience. The timing of it all, how I could feel God's hand in the timing of how he put this together, and how I happened to be there at that time. And if not, what a powerful lesson for me immediately following having shared it with you. And so I wanted to share that with you to kind of give you an epilogue, I guess, to what we talked about last week. But life is so sweet. Life is the greatest teacher. This is the greatest school, albeit with imperfect students. The past is, well, Thomas S. Monson, one of my favorite quotes, says, the past is behind, learn from it. The future is ahead, prepare for it. The present is now, live it. And that's the motto that I take. I have no idea when God's going to pluck me from this earth. All I know is I don't want it to be my fault. And I'm going to live every moment that I can, as best that I can. I wish you all a very momentous week, and I look forward to talking to you next week. Bye-bye.